Hello, everybody. Hi, precious people. Welcome to the very first ever episode of Random Talks. This is Ira, and I'm really excited to finally be here because for a couple months I've been thinking to make my own podcast. So finally, here I am now. And on today's episode, I'm here with a special guest, and she's my friend. She's the first ever guest on this podcast, so I'm so excited to have this conversation with her. Well, then, okay, let's get started. Hi, Dean.
Hello, hi.
Hi. How's it going?
Well, everything is going well. What about you?
Yeah, everything is also going well in here. Yeah.
Okay, glad to know.
So, okay, the topic that we're gonna talk for this very first episode about English journey. So, on today's episode, we're going to share a little bit about how how we ended up learning this language, right? About the journey of we learning this language. So, for your information, guys, Dean is she is my friend, and we met on Free Fall Talk, right, Dean?
Yeah, we
And
are.
then, yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself in a briefly.
Oh, thank you. Well, my name is Dina, but people mostly call me Den. And I am Leviosa friends. So we met on Before Talk, and now we are here.
Oh yeah, I think people might be confused. Like, why did you call me Leviosa?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, because well, I knew her as Leviosa, but your real name actually Ira, right? So I very common to know you as Leviosa, but actually you are Ira. Yeah, sorry for that.
No,
Because
you don't have to.
because
Sorry,
I
because
get used to call you Leviosa than Ira. It's gonna
yeah,
pretty
actually,
weird.
that's fine. Most of the people for that I met on Free Fall Talk, they call me Leviosa. So that's why. Actually, that's totally fine because I put my name like as a Leviosa in that website. So yeah, that's totally fine. If you want to call
Mhm.
me Leviosa or either Ira or Ira. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so let's get right jump into the topic that I'm gonna talk today. And yeah, maybe first of all, tell us a little bit about your first experience learning English.
Well, my experience about English is quite a bit long journey to be honest, because I had no intention to learn English. I just want to make a fun in English, like talk with foreigners because I love talking with people from around the world. And I remember the first time I try speak English, actually it wasn't like literally speak English. So basically we did like, typing, texting on website. I remember my first website was pen pals. So like we sending the email. So my first maid was from Turkey. So she was very nice and we end up like mutual and giving our WhatsApp number and had a call. And yeah, and then I end up now like I always try and make a time to practice my spoken English on the website that we already common to use, like that is Free for Talk. So yeah, it's quite a long journey to be honest, but so far I just like I'm making fun because I love speaking English. Yeah.
Um, okay, that's the point. When the moment that you feel really enjoy, like learning this language, like enjoying the process when you talk to people, I think yeah, that's really amazing because you already found your interest, right? Why? Like, I need to learn this language, and you because you wanna make a friends, and then yeah, so on. So yeah, that's really amazing.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, you're right. What about you, Ira?
Me, it's actually quite a long journey. I started learning this when I was in what is this? Elementary school. That was the first time I learned English, and then, uh, but at that moment, I didn't like learning English. I hate it, and I was pretty reluctant to study this language because I thought like English is not important at all, and I live in Indonesia. Why would I have to learn this language? That was the thought, like my childish self, like, and
Mhm.
then but as the time goes by, when I enter high school, I feel like I think English is going to be like um what is this, like, good thing if I learn this language, and probably it's gonna useful for myself in the future. So like that's why I decided to learn English. And then but the way I learn is actually I try to find the thing that makes me interested to learn this language. For example, because I also the same like you, I really love to talk to people. I
Mm-hmm.
found really interesting when I be able to spoken with people from a different country. I feel like wow, that's amazing because I don't have to go to that country in order to talk with that people. So like I feel like it's really amazing how English
Mm-hmm.
has big impact to myself, right? So
Mm-hmm.
actually, there's so many things has been changed in my life when I learned this language. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
why.
exactly. Okay, I forgot to say, like, I remember the first time I tried to talk with foreigners when I was in senior high school. Like, it was like 2016 or 17. Like, I don't remember. So yeah, that was my first time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The first time. Okay, that's
Yep.
great.
But it has like up and down, like, motivation to learn English. Sometimes like I feel bored to speak English, but now I don't know. I'm really passionate about English. Yeah.
Oh, okay, you're really passionate about English. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. By the way, so why did you decide then to learn this language after that? Because the first time you said you didn't like this language.
Yeah. Oh, well, to be honest, because I just like love it. And now I end up now I'm a worker as a private tutor in online course. So it's like a must to improve myself. Like I am a public figure for them. I'm a figure for my students. So I have to study before I teach my students. So of course, because I have got like some dreams, like my goals that I want to achieve it. So it's related about, about English. So if I want to have a better life, if I want to have like proper um job or something. So, in English we have got a lot of opportunities. Did you get me?
Yeah, absolutely. I got you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For me, like it seemed like me. The reason that I'm studying English is very simple because I believe that learning English makes my life more enjoyable. Since English
Mm-hmm.
has become the global language, and then like I realized the simple fact, and I asked myself like, why did I learn this language? And it's actually the first time when I was in like 10th grade high school, and then I feel like, yeah, I think we need to learn this language. And then there's so many material that available on internet, so like we just look it for it, and then yeah, everything available on internet. So there's no excuses for us to not to learn this language or like yeah, like that.
Yeah, kind of the same because a lot of opportunities when we can like or able to speak English rather than, not able to speak English. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So maybe we're going to move to like a fluency. Um as an English learner, we're trying to become fluent as much as we could, right? And then we want to sound like native speaker, and then that means we need to also to master the ability to have a discussion in English and like organizing our thoughts for the various topics. So for me, like I think your English is maybe like in a already in an advanced level, like so far as I
Oh,
thought.
too
Like
much.
so okay, so how did you reach that level? Yeah, could you tell us to the listener in here?
Oh, to be honest, like about my fluency, I don't really like feel fluent enough to speak. Sometimes like a lot of things in my mind. So sometimes when I have got like a lack of confidence, so it's gonna impact on my fluency. So there is correlation between in it. And well, about my fluency, I'm still improving right now. I don't think so. I am in my advanced level. People might think so that I am advanced level. If I can say I am upper intermediate level. Yeah, like upper is going to advanced, but I'm not pretty sure that I am advanced level. But thank you for your compliment. Um,
Okay, sure.
so how to get that my fluency? I remember the first time like I was very hard to express myself about my thought, what I'm feeling. So it takes time to be honest, because since English isn't our first language and our native is Indonesian. So just enjoy your process and then try to push yourself to speak English. Like every day, every single time, even like when you want to talk to yourself, try to speak English. Like even like thinking in English. So it's gonna help you to improve your fluency. For example, just a little bit like a phrase, for example, I want to do like you are thinking about what you want to do, and oh, I want to grab my phone and I want to go to my friend's house. So just talk in English, just by step, gradually, until you make it like some phrases or expression, and you can combine it like word to word. So that's my steps actually, how to get my fluency just a little by little. And I remember I used to always like check on Google Translate to help me to make it sentence, because I didn't know how to make it sentence. I knew when people speak English, I knew what they said, but I don't know how to tell to them. So that was my problems. And now sometimes I still have my adversities to talk with people, whatever, like when it comes to someone who has like excellent English, I feel like quite a bit insecure, to be honest. So it's gonna impact on my fluency sometimes. But now, like I just want to focus on what I want to say. Like, because communication is supposed to be like, listening and also speaking, like in input and output. So yeah, it's not about like think about the grammar all the time. Grammar is like very important, but when it comes to speaking, like just say what you want to say. So yeah, that's it. What about
Okay.
you? Yeah.
I actually get it what you just said before. It's like I learned that practice is make improvement, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then you know what most of the people has been experienced like when they started to learn this language, and then when they decided to speak, when they decided want to speak, and then like they tend to afraid when the first time they want to try to speak up in English, and they're afraid of what people gonna think about them, and then what about the grammar that we're gonna use, something like that. Actually, I have a lot of friends who had been experienced that kind of problem, and then they tell to me like, how am I going to cope this problem, like because I'm still thinking about grammar in my head, I'm afraid about people judgment.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually this is really sad. Like maybe it take maybe like much time for that to think, not to care about people opinion for that. So what do you think about that problem?
About like people very pay attention about grammar, whatever
Yes,
we are
exactly.
speaking.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, do you know, like, because English is our second language, so of course, like, we don't have perfect English. It's the same as like where we speak Bahasa Indonesian. So we don't have EID, EID whenever we speak, like whenever we say something. So we just like, like don't really use it on our spoken Indonesian, right? So it's the same as like in English. I don't think so. Like we have to have perfect grammar when it comes to speaking, because it just like postpone you to say something, and you feel like kind of hesitate to say, and lack of your confidence or self-esteem. So just forget for the moment about grammar. After like you already get the confidence, also the fluency, you can do your grammar. I mean, you can working on your grammar, on your spoken English. That's my idea. What about you?
I absolutely agree what you just said, because when the first time I decided to learn English, like the first thing that I tried to get it off in my mind, like negative thoughts about how people gonna react about my accent, either of my fluency. So, and then grammar as well. So I'm trying to like get rid of the negative thoughts. Like, no, it's fine. People gonna try. If people even notice about my grammar, I'm just gonna accept that and then learning from my mistakes. So it doesn't matter at all. I think it's better for people, trying to correcting us rather than they just
Mm-hmm.
keep it silent without saying anything at all if we are making mistake. So I think we need to accept that we're sometimes we need to accept that we are also wrong for saying maybe a
Mm-hmm.
sentence and like any mistake that we made in our grammatical role. So I think, yeah, the thing is we need to accept that, right? Because yeah, as you said before, as you mentioned before, that English is our second language. Absolutely, it's fine if we still make mistakes. So actually, I
Mm-hmm.
just want to say it out loud to all the people out there who still learning this language. You guys don't need to worry about
Yeah.
grammar at all. Just
Yeah.
speak up and just trying to speak to people and just don't care about grammar at first. Maybe like grammar is really important, but like for this one, you need to start to speak in order to make your grammar more perfectly in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It seems as like we just learn this language. So it's it's the same as like we are a baby. A baby just learn about
Uh-huh.
a language, how to communicate. Like first time, try to say one word, and then they can make it like a lot of words. For example, like mama, and then they can say like two words after they
Dad.
yeah, and they got a lot of words and make a sentence and become perfect. So it's the same as like as a baby as a learning English. So that's what I mean.
Exactly. Yeah, I got what you mean. I think it's really absolutely right because I think we need to thinking first about like we're still learner and it's okay to make mistakes. So yeah, that's the thing is you guys need to
Yes.
stick in your mind from now on. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I second
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? When the first time I met you, probably couple months ago, and then at the very beginning, we didn't know each other. We actually haven't talked before, right? Did you still remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And then you
Uh-huh.
tried to give me like, hey, hint that, and then to make me what is this like remember about you. And actually, the first thing that I remember about yourself is your accent. For me,
Oh,
your accent
really?
is very fascinating because you got a little bit of UK accent, like a British accent. So like I want to ask you about how did you get that British accent? Because as far as I know, British is really important for Indonesian students, for Indonesian people, I think. So yeah, how did you get that accent? How did you learn?
Oh, well, to be honest, I have no idea how can I gain this accent. It comes by itself, to be honest. I'm not lying. I think that's the powerful of listening because I love listening podcast. I love watching YouTube and mostly my content, but podcast or the video, mostly from UK. And yeah, that's makes me sounds like them because whenever when they say something, so I knew it. Oh, this how to pronounce this. For example, even just like say hello, I make it like this sounds like hello. Yeah, of course it needs practice, and also we have to like have put on like the balance between speaking and listening. So perhaps I much more a lot listened about British, and then when I want to try to make conversation with people, so I know it how to sounds like. So it comes by itself. I suggest also because now I talk a lot in English, um, so it makes me want to learn about this accent because it's quite pretty weird when I have three accent on my spoken English. Like they are American, British, and Indonesian. Even Indonesian has accent, right? So I should focus on one thing to make it sounds, yeah, beautiful. I can say. I mean, quite well to listen. And yeah, and now I end up working on this accent, and I'm still trying to improving my pronunciation. So sometimes people do like mimicking about someone's accent, perhaps like Harry Potter accent, and I have no idea about like my accent, like which one the figure that I imitated. So for me, it's just like natural accent, like just British accent, since British has a lot of accents. There are Cockney, RP, um, if I'm mistaken, Geordie, Scottish. So it's quite a lot, but I can say my accent perhaps sometimes is inclined to RP, sometimes sounds quite a bit more Cockney. So I have no idea. It's just like a British. So I can say yeah, just because I love listening podcasts and listen a lot about British accent. Yep.
Okay. Okay, amazing. So this is actually the power of listening, right? The power of listening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is one of the reason you guys need to listening to podcasts either or YouTube. You need to content a lot of English, consume a lot of English content as much as possible. If you started to learn this language, the first thing you need to try to maybe improve your listening skill. For example, you can listen to podcasts like Dean just said before, and then also maybe watching some movie. And actually, for me, I love listening to podcasts as well. And then my favorite podcast is Emma Chamberlain, and then she is came from Canada. If I'm not mistaken, that's where like I also got learn a little bit of Canadian accent and also United States accent. So that's why, and I don't really listen to various accent as well because
Mm-hmm.
at first I didn't really understand how what they're talking about, but recently because you just gave me recommendation of a various podcast. I forget. Wait a second. Oh, it's the fair of the fair, the word of fair, the one
The
that
what?
you.
Yeah, the what's fair. The what's
Yeah,
affair.
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
You know what? Recently, for the couple 2 days, for the past 2 days, like I listened to her podcast, The World Affairs, and
So
then and you know what? At some point, I feel like so happy because I could understand what she was talking about. I was like, oh, finally. Yeah, at the very moment, I was like, oh my god, what she's talking about because she's really talking really fast, and then with the British accent because I'm even getting used to listening to British accent. So like I'm trying my best to listen carefully, and then after that, after listening to her for 2 days, I feel like okay, now I could understand her. Actually, if we try to getting used to with the accent that we want to learn, I think yeah, we could understand what they're talking about. So just getting used to you with the British accent or maybe American accent, guys, if you want to learn that. So yeah, that's all.
yeah, let me add it something like it in my opinion, like when you listen a lot from native what they said, it's gonna impact on your pronunciation and accent. So if you forget about listening, so it's gonna impact on your speaking. I mean, you know how to say very properly, very well. Like when it comes to when you listen something like without subtitle, you already know it what they said. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think, yeah, what do you think? In
Yeah,
my experience, yeah, it's gonna help me to listen about native speaker. So it's really easy to catch it.
yeah. I actually agree with you because actually for me, I even didn't realize that my pronunciation has increased a lot when I started to listening to podcasts a lot. And then after like one of my friend, a friend of mine told me like, hey, your pronunciation is getting well day by day. I was like, and then I was like, oh, maybe it's because I listening to podcasts a lot. And then I feel I feel you because I really love listening to podcasts, and I feel it's also impact the way I speak and then intonation because we getting used to listen to native speaker when they talk, when they how they gonna make the sentence, and then the intonation, the was part of the speech when they stress every single word. I think it's also a fact when you're listening a lot.
Definitely, yeah. I agreed.
So yeah, that's all. And then yeah, maybe it's going to be the last thing that we're gonna talk about tips. Maybe you wanna do you want to share about tips and tricks how we going to maybe for the first English learner and then they listen to this, maybe you guys understand about the whole conversation. It means that you're awesome, guys. So just keep going, continue learning this language, and then maybe a little bit about tips and tricks briefly that you can tell us to the listener.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I think it doesn't much because there are a lot advice and recommendation about the tips. But for me, don't study English. Yeah, don't study English.
Oh,
Just
don't study English. Okay, that's
don't study
interesting.
English, but live in an English. What do you love about your interest? For example, if you love sports, and just combine it in English. If you love a game, just combine with the content about English. Like find a YouTuber who speak English about games. Or like etc. So just live it in English. Me personally, I love seeing people traveling, vlogging, etc. So I find something about British. So just leave it in English. And you don't feel like, you are learning English actually. So just live it in English. Even like when you want to think something, just think it in English. So because you're living in English, it's like a non-stop, like, long journey because English is long journey. So if you study, like open a book, very conservative way, like old way, like you just like fulfilling the gap and then you open explanation about something about the grammar, I think it's gonna be so stressful. And I believe that you get easily feeling like a bored and give up about your English and you put on harder yourself and punishing yourself. Why I haven't improved yet? So you asking to yourself,
Mm.
you
Uh-huh.
get me? Because
Yeah, I
you
absolutely agree
are
with that
living
one.
in English. So if you want to learn about English, just live it in English. Just try. You're a native. I know it's hard, but just try it. Like, um, I forget the term. Try it until you make it. No, make
Okay,
it,
wow,
fake
that's a
it,
quote.
fake, fake it until you make it. I'm sorry, like, am I wrong? Like, yeah. You try it until you get it.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because me personally, like, I don't feel satisfied about my English, but now I'm really enjoying the process. I learn by my mistake. I don't stress about my mistake, about my weakness of something because it's part of me. So yeah, so my tips just living in English. That's it.
Okay. I got your point. I mean, like, maybe for some people they don't like studying, right? Maybe you guys, if
Yeah.
you like studying, yeah, it means that you're fine. But for some people, they don't like studying at all. They find studying is not fun at all, and it's difficult to continue to do what is not fun, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
if keep your motivation for studying, it's better if you can connect yourself, um, connect English to what you're interested in, right? That's
It
you
did.
meant, right? Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
then just try to searching what you like to do. For example, you like sport, that like just Dean said, just try to watch some sport maybe news or whatever that maybe that you find really of interesting, and then yeah, that's how you guys can enjoy the moment of learning this language.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
about you? What about yourself? The
What
tips.
about tips
Because
for
you're
me?
good at English and wow, I'm really amazed about you. So how? Yeah, please
Oh,
give our tips as well.
okay, thank you so much for the compliment. And the tips is I just told you before. I actually find one thing that make me interested about learning English, and then I connected English to what I interested in. For example, because I find myself really fun when I watching some like movies and then video on YouTube, because I have like YouTuber, like my favorite YouTuber, and then they all came from like UK, and then they all came from United States. For me, like, if I don't understand English at all, how can I understand what they're talking about in that video, right? So I need
Mm-hmm.
to no, I need to understand English even though a little bit more. So like I feel like that's why I need to learn. That's why I got a lot of new vocabulary because of them. And then yeah, that's how you guys can learn this language. Just find the thing that make you interested, and then also find a partner. Like me, I found Dean, like which is my partner, English partner. So I think
Yeah.
it's going to keep you on a track. Like motivation, you motivate yourself. And then if you find a partner, and then try to looking like partner maybe like every single day to talk, so that you keep on a track, and then continuing yeah, practicing every single day if you find a partner. So it's going to determine you to be improve a lot, like in every
Mhm.
single day. So yeah, that's all.
And I want to add some more. Like, if you still have like lack of confidence, like you don't feel like, how can I say, brave to speak English with someone's like whether non-native or the same as you, like, English learner, you can take a video or record yourself and talking, like pretend to be, an anchor or a
Mhm,
vlogger. So you just speak in English, and afterwards you watch it or listen it about your spoken English. So that's my tips. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I did that.
The
I did that.
same.
I still have the video of myself when the first time I decided to learn this language, and I was introduced myself in English. And then and if now I look back to the video, I feel like my English is really horrible. And you guys
Yeah.
can try this out. Try to introduce or talk everything in English.
Yeah.
About your day, about how is it going in your day, and then about how you felt. For the some people, I think it's gonna be really work for you if you try to like record yourself, and then if you don't post don't post it on Instagram or whatever edit platform, okay? So like, but unless if you want to get judged by people, right? Because there's so many salty people out there. No, no, yeah. So that's a fact. So yeah, just keep learning, guys, and then
Yeah.
yeah, maybe like wait a second. I'm gonna think. Okay, maybe like final message for those people who still lack of confidence for speaking English.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question because I wasn't focused.
Sorry.
What did you say? Sorry.
My question is like any final message for those people who lack of confidence for speaking English.
Um, Oh, take your time. I know it's hard for you to get a confidence. I feel that way, all of us. So, don't put on a lot of stress on you, and just try step by step and talking to yourself and recording yourself or talking through camera and save it, and you can open it and just check on about your pronunciation or grammar. And then after you have got the confidence, just try to open some website. Actually, it's quite a lot out there. It's not only free for talk, but also like Hello App. So um episodent.com. I try a lot, or Tandem. You can look up to Google about practice English. And I know, you have to try it. Just push yourself. I mean, if you are in your comfort zone, I I think it's just gonna like stuck about your English. You have to try. Who knows? And actually, people who learn English, they have the same thought as you, because we are learning this language. So don't worry about your English. So just try to speak. Make it like small conversation, like not that very hard conversation, just like, the simple conversation, like how are you, where are you from, what do you do for a living, and etc. Asking for why, what, how. So you can make it the question, and you try to answer it the best you can. I mean, don't try to push on your like kind of hard words, very tough word. Just make it simple. That makes you comfortable. Yeah, that's my tips and guest. Yeah.
Okay. All right then. Thank you very much. This has been absolutely wonderful. And yeah, thank you so much. I really
Yeah, thank
appreciate
you
your
for having
time, you coming
me.
on. Yeah, sure.
Oh
And
my
yeah,
goodness.
thank you so much for coming here and be my first guest ever for this podcast.
Oh,
And really appreciate
lovely.
your time. Yeah. Thank you so much. And
Thank
then
you.
yeah, for you guys who have been listening to this podcast, I hope you guys have an amazing day. And if you guys enjoy this podcast, thank you so much for watching and listening. And please do hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. See you later, my precious people. And I can't wait to see you in the next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.